deserve it. Dan the man, where are you? Was this fair reaction by Micah Parson?
I love Micah, a great player, but I believe Nick Bosa and Myles Garrett are the two players that made it ahead of him. Nick Bosa leads the NFL in sacks, and he's second in the NFL in TFLs, tackle for losses. Myles Garrett is second in the NFL in sacks and fourth in tackle for losses. You know, Micah, I think, is like 7th in sacks and 15th in TFL. So, phenomenal player. Tailed off a little bit at the end of the season, but Bosa and Garrett making it ahead of him aren't this list that we have to flip out about as I can't believe they left Micah off.
Well, first of all, let's understand and quote Micah Parsons accurately. He wasn't complaining about the people on the list ahead of him. What he was saying is bleep all of that. I don't care about all of that because I'm trying to win a championship. So I applaud his response. He didn't fail to give credit where credit is due to those who made the list. He recognized their greatness and their impact and that fact that they were worthy of it. He didn't question anything like that. All he was saying is, yo, man, I ain't got time for all of this right now. Don't come to me with this nonsense about some list. It's the best thing. This is why the Dallas Cowboys are so lucky to have him, because this brother is there to win championships. If the Dallas Cowboys win a championship in the foreseeable future, Micah Parsons is going to be the biggest reason why, because that's the kind of mentality. I'm talking about the mentality. Others might throw or run for touchdown, stuff like that, but he infuses something into their psyche that has been sorely lacking for decades. He's eradicated.
And looming, and Mike McCarthy has been receiving a lot of criticism after a bad Week 18 loss. The pressure is on Monday night for Dallas to knock off Tom Brady, who the Cowboys have never beaten. Dan, do you think McCarthy is coaching for his job on Monday in Tampa?
I do not. I think that Mike McCarthy has been held to just such unrealistic expectations. Mike McCarthy, and Marcus pointed this out the other day, has won 24 games in 2 years. Do you want to know the two teams that have more wins? The Chiefs and the Bills in the NFL. Those are the only two teams. He's got more wins than Matt LaFleur and the Packers. He's got more wins than Nick Sirianni and the Eagles. He's got more wins than Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. And the reality is this, like last year we sat there and said, oh, it's the penalties, and that was fair. They got better with penalties this year. Last year we talked about situational football. You can make the case that they're the best situational football team in the NFL this year. So they've improved in those things. They went 4-1 with the backup quarterback. The only thing that we could have a conversation in regards to when it comes to Mike McCarthy is how much Dak Prescott's play has slipped this year. And it's strictly attached to the interceptions. Are you pinning those on Mike McCarthy? Is that what's going on? You're pinning those on Mike McCarthy? Because I could talk about this for an hour. Are you pinning those on Mike McCarthy? Why do you want to fire him if he loses? Tell me why.
Dan Orlovsky. I say this facetiously because you know I don't mean it literally. I'm just talking about as it pertains to the subject about the Cowboys. You and Marcus Spears, grow the hell up. Stop being petty. Stop it. We ain't talking about what I want. I don't give a damn. I ain't losing no sleep if Mike McCarthy stays on as the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. That's not what this is about. This is about what we think will happen if he loses, what we think Jerry Jones might do. That's all this is. You understand? I sleep well at night, no matter how nauseating and disgusting Dallas Cowboy fans can be, no matter what level of joy their misery brings to my life because their team loses, okay? Because I have no greater joy in sports than watching a Cowboy fan miserable over their team. It's a beautiful thing, okay? The fact of the matter is that we're talking about what we think Jerry Jones is going to do. We ain't talking about wins and losses. We understand he's won more games than he's lost. We understand the last 2 years they've got to the playoffs. We understand the last 2 years they've had back-to-back 12-5 seasons. We also saw them not even be able to get off a play in the final 13 seconds. But a week later, Patrick Mahomes took Kansas City down the field in 14 seconds and put them in field goal range. We saw that. We've lamented the penalties and how that plagued them last season, okay? We also paid attention to this year, and we've seen Dak Prescott throwing interceptions. We see them not being able to get him under control. We've seen Dan Quinn we get reminded of Dan Quinn and what an exceptional defensive coordinator he is, and what a good job he did as a head coach in taking the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl before blowing a 25-point lead to the New England Patriots. We also know that he's going to be interviewed for head coaching jobs. We also know that he stayed in Dallas.
Dan Quinn's defense has given up 1,000 yards in the last 3 weeks.
Wait a minute. I'm not talking about Dan Quinn over the last several weeks. I'm talking about how he's viewed in NFL circles, because you know I'm telling the truth about that. That's why he's getting interviewed for head coaching jobs. That's why he elected to stay in Dallas, because the belief was he was a coach in waiting. That usually doesn't happen with NFL teams. But guess what? When Wade Phillips was there, who the hell was waiting in the wings? You had Jason Garrett being paid the same salary as Wade Phillips as a coordinator. Am I lying? The fact of the matter is Jerry Jones has done unconventional, unorthodox things throughout history. Usually it leans towards loyalty to guys who are Cowboys. Mike McCarthy was a Green Bay Packer. Mike McCarthy was a Green Bay Packer.
No. Because this is what happens. No, because what you're doing right now is not standing on the words that you said yesterday.
Yesterday, what?
You said that if they lose, they're going to fire Mike McCarthy, and he would deserve to be fired.
So what?
No,
so
because
hold on, wait a minute.
Right now you're saying.
I'm sorry, am I saying something different?
Yes.
I didn't think I was saying something different.
Yes.
No. Hold on.
You just went on some long version soliloquy of saying what we think Jerry Jones is going to do.
Because I'm saying to you, I already said, I'm sorry. My bad, Dan. I didn't think I had to remind you. If Mike McCarthy loses this game this weekend, then you damn right he deserves to be fired.
How does he deserve to get fired?
And I believe he will be.
Well, Stephen A., is it because of the penalties? Is it because of that bad gaffe that they had in the playoff game? Is it because Sean Payton?
All of the above, even though that's not Sean Payton part, because I think Sean Payton wants to be in Los Angeles running the Chargers. Because Brandon Staley's going to get his first fired if he loses to Jacksonville.
Dan wants you to list a reason.
Let me say this to you. The reasons that you mentioned, and last but not least, it's not about what you think the job description is. If I'm the owner, I decide what the damn job description is. If I want you to get to the NFC Championship game and you don't do it, I'm going to get somebody who does. If I want you to get to the Super Bowl and you don't do it, I'm going to get somebody who does. If I'm telling you I'm not hiring you to win 12 games in the regular season and that suffices, then that's my condition. Golden rule, ladies and gentlemen, let's educate folks. Golden rule. Those who have the gold make the rules. That's Jerry Jones' rule.
That is not my golden rule.
I didn't say that. That's the golden rule according to Jerry Jones.
Here's the thing, Stephen.
Let me ask you a question. Is there somebody making rules in Dallas other than Jerry Jones?
No.
Anybody?
No.
Thank you.
So when he came out this week and said the outcome of this game does not have any impact on Mike McCarthy's job security.
What did I say?
He said he's lying.
What did I say? I said he's lying. By the way, 105.3, the flagship station for the Dallas Cowboys, has called me to come on because evidently they need me to come back on to echo what the hell I said. He's lying.
But here's my thing, Stephen A.
Let Mike McCarthy lose this game Monday night. I promise you, the man gone. I promise you. He gone, and Quinn will be up in there as the head coach before McCarthy stays.
And like I said on your tweet yesterday, he might be fired, but he does not deserve to be fired.
Okay.
Stephen A., let's look at this factually. Okay. Let's just talk about this in facts.
Sure.
Mike McCarthy this year, again, 24 wins in the last 2 years, only behind Kansas City and Buffalo, more than anybody else in the NFC. He lost his left tackle, who was a Hall of Famer. He's now lost his right tackle. He lost his franchise quarterback for 5 games. They lost their number 2 receiver for a month to ACL surgery. They've lost their starting nickelback and their starting corner opposite Trayvon Diggs.
Oh, please.
Those don't matter?
Listen, I'm not saying to you that doesn't matter. I'm saying to you
years ago,
they glamorize it. Yeah, of course. And, of course, in a full contact sport, that kind of toughness does inspire because you need toughness in a full contact sport. I get it. But I always made sure to say, I don't know about the wisdom of him doing it. Looking back, guys, just because, we can ride with this, it's working, he's doing it. When the problem with playing him 4 days after the initial event, because he cleared protocol, the problem with that was once that happens within a 4-day span, I really think that's it for the season, at least. I think that because the next time your head gets knocked, it's probably going to happen again. This is my experience watching boxing, right?
Yeah, it totally. If you remember, I said once you get it once, you get a tap twice, and then it's a barrel thump the third time, and then and then you just it recycles and repeats itself. They sit you down, Jay, for you get your third concussion. They sit you down for 6 weeks. They say, oh, he's cleared to go. A guy plays 1 or 2 games, and next time he get hit, boom, he's out again for 6 weeks. I mean, that's the way it always was. Now I'm glad that this program is in place to make these tough decisions.
Yeah. And let me just say, from my experience watching the fights, I'm almost 50, right? Like for a long time, it's that if the second concussion occurs too close to the first one, this is anecdotal, I get it. I'm not a scientist here. But you can use your common sense and observation and draw conclusions. The problem is from then on, it feels like the wiring is different. When they decided to play him 4 days after the initial event, Jay, it seems to me it has jeopardized his career.
Oh, 1,000%. And we're not talking about 2 concussions. I mean, 2 concussions is a lot. You're talking about 3 in one season. So it does lead you to the next question as if – now, look, we'll get into the Bills and the Dolphins game with Skylar Thompson now and how that changes, and the line has moved up a little bit to 12.5 instead of 9. But ultimately, the bigger discussion around is Tua your certified definitive quarterback moving forward for this franchise, considering how injury prone he is, being concussed 3 times.
No, we got to look at another direction.
Yeah, Jimmy G, Derek Carr, other options, draft.
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo healthy makes the most sense because he knows the system, being with McDaniel. Yep. But at the same time, you got to make a decision on where you place Tua. Even if he's not your long-term solution, is he a backup? Is he a short-term? Like, do you still want to play with that? Or do you want to give him his $6 million, $7 million, $8 million or whatever on his last year before you make a decision to pick up that option in May? So you got all the way to May to pick up the 5th-year option.
Yeah, Key,
his 4-year.
I'm going to say one thing, Key. It's I really feel for Tua, man.
Me too.
It's because your warrior spirit as an athlete always wants to get back on the court or on the field to play. And Key, you had made mention of chasing the bag. Like with the way this